the beckoning. The Anarchs, long repressed and overpowered, are now making serious moves for swathes of the city, slinking in and establishing themselves far faster than the feudal appointments of their opposition can muster. Make no mistake, though, the Camarilla still rule the city by name, by resources, and by force. Prince Philip and his son, Prince Seneschal, and someday successor, Cato, have ruled this city for centuries. An experienced and powerful adversary, with the wealth of the Ventru primogen, Max Anders, squarely behind them. And whispers through the grapevine now give credence to the notion that they have thought enough is enough. Now is the time for retaliation. But our story is not one that starts with a prince's schemes, nor Baroness Olivia's battle plans. No. Our story starts on the frontier between the two. An enviable location near the center of the city, a new nightclub christened the White Rose, deftly acquired by the quick minds at Grey Property Management. A business agreement was swiftly agreed to by two new arrivals to the city, and a step was taken forward in the plans of each and every member of the newly formed coterie. We pick up on the opening night of the White Rose, with Ophelia and Oberon, each walking towards their club, ready to take the final preparations for its inaugural launch. So, Oberon and Ophelia.
So we're walking down the street towards the grand opening?
Absolutely.
Oberon.
Sis, I think we should stick to the alleyways. We don't want to be recognized, you know. We don't want the riffraff to crowd around us. We'll never make it to the door.
Honestly, I was truly hoping you would just deal with this tonight. I'm not in the mood to be surrounded by people.
Well, it's our grand opening, so you better get ready to be surrounded by people.
Okay.
Lady Grey's gonna wanna see her investment pay off.
This is true. I'll just treat it like a character. Let me, focus.
Yeah, get in the character. I'm
Okay.
gonna take her. I'm gonna put one hand behind her neck and one. You know how they like a coach to his player, and pull her close, and then I'm gonna smack her gently on the cheek and be like, "Come on, it's game time."
Yeah. Okay. I got it. Oh yeah. Okay. Whew. We're ready now. Let's go. All right. So we head towards the alley.
Do you actually know where the back door is? Because I don't think we've been in that way yet.
I'm sure between the two of us, there's enough brain cells to figure it out.
Well, as you come closer, walking down these night-lit streets of Broadmouth, there is quite a cluster of mortals around you, kind of the stench of their sweat, as even early in the night, you're really in a hub of the arts of this city. There are nightclubs like yours strewn around the place, but also interesting art cafes, patisseries. This is a place of the rich, where people have money and want to spend it. As you come up towards your nightclub, could perhaps one of you describe the exterior, what someone walking along the street would see as they sauntered across?
I think it would probably look like somewhat unassuming from the. Well, I don't know.
No, I agree with that. I was gonna say.
It needs to. You know those like clubs that look super sleek? It's just like a very flat wall, like a metal flat wall, and on one side it's just like a light, like a recessed light. I could draw it for you more better. It would probably be like a pink, like a soft pink light, and it's recessed so that it's softer. You know, it's not directly onto the metal. And then it would probably just say, you know, the white rose, cut out in the metal. I imagine.
Yeah, I like that.
And it would be written in the same font as LaCroix.
Got you. Alrighty. So would you two head inside the building, or would you wait outside for another of your coterie members to arrive?
Well, what did we agree upon? I don't know. Did Lady Grey expect us to... Is there a back door?
I
I
think that
guess, actually, now that I think about it, we probably do want to be seen going in.
Yeah, if it's the grand opening.
Is there a red carpet?
it's up to you for the preparations you have made. Should you have arranged for one, absolutely yes, there will be.
Well, so I like the idea that the club, we're not trying to sell anything. The people should be proving themselves worthy to us. You know? So, unless you disagree, Andre, I don't imagine like a big, well, I don't know. It is the grand opening.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're having...
Let's just say we all plan to meet inside before we're officially open to the public.
Alrighty. So will you guys wander through the open front door?
That sounds accurate, actually. I feel like...
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but we're starting in media res here. We can't keep rewinding. I think we have to imagine that we had a conversation before
Oh yeah.
with Lady Grey and Rogue, but
It's still early in the night as well.
yeah,
I
let's just do that.
Just one quick clarifying question. Is this going to be, has all of our correspondence so far been non in person?
I would imagine
Great.
that you have met
Oh.
somewhat with folks, but it is again up to you. Perhaps at this point we will cut across to either the Lady Grey or Rogue and see how they are beginning to approach this night.
I think that's a good idea.
Perfect.
I'm not sure what you think, Rogue, but I'm fairly certain we would probably be together unless you were off doing something
definitely.
else. And we are
A big night like this, yeah.
Yeah, and we are definitely taking the back door. Just in case there are any cameras at the front door.
Can we at least take a limo?
Fine, we can take one of the grey property management limos if you really want. Just if I see a single camera, I'm going to flip out.
I assume that means I'm driving.
I mean, on a stylish night like tonight, I could always get a drive. Fine, you can drive. I don't care. I just want tonight over and done with. Big publicity events like this are not my style.
Of course. Do not worry. One sees two for Fang. So yeah, we will definitely be driving through the to the back entrance.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even through the loading bay, because that might be a less seen route than the back.
Smart.
That is smart. This is why I have you around.
So, as the camera kind of follows the limo that's slinking around and behind the club, perhaps descending into a more secretive entrance, perhaps this being Rogue's area of the club and his area of expertise, would he like to describe perhaps some of the features that he has persuaded his almost adoptive sire, the Lady Catelyn, to purchase for him?
Yes. Well, so obviously the loading bays can be big enough to hold one or two trucks. When we do have various deliveries, they require quite a bit of transport and room. A concrete room, it won't be filled with much. However, it will then pass on through some double doors into what Rogue has dubbed the Blood Room. This will be a room somewhat akin to the upstairs. The LED lights that light the place will be extremely dull and red, hence the name. But this is also a place of luxury for rogues. Have those various stripper poles dotted around the place and the lovely leather sofas. And there's mini fridges that have all been labelled one of those label typewriter things. Rogue's property has literally just been stamped across them all. And besides that, there's going to be it's going to look so out of place to the rest of the room that there would probably be a a wooden block just in the corner, just in case we catch anyone getting a little too, how shall we word it? If anyone decides to have a feast in our domain, they might need to lose a limb or two.
Charming.
Alrighty.
That's why you have me around.
Excellent. And so the four of you convene in the middle of this, from what I have understood, relatively swanky club. There is a real art to the decor and design that is built to impress and perhaps even intimidate or challenge the tastes of those who would come to be patrons here. Around you are a multitude of the staff that you have hired that are in the pay of Grey. And business seems to be going according to plan. The necessary preparations have been made, and it is only a couple of hours before the grand opening and the christening of the club, as it were. If there were any jobs you would like to do or any final discussion you would like to have, now is the time.
Lady Grey will certainly take a moment to wander over to Oberon and Ophelia, just to make sure that they're aware she's here, and to greet them and just catch up and find out how things are going.
Good evening, Lady Ophelia. I trust you enjoy what we've done with the place.
Good evening. Yes, it certainly looks a lot better than it did several weeks ago, I will give it that. You certainly are proving to be fine managers.
Well, you know, there's nothing we're better at than finding the beauty in things.
So I've heard.
Your contractors did a great job. I'm sure,
After direction, of course.
Grey Property Management pride themselves in providing the best service possible. All of our staff are fully vetted before they're hired.
I must say, Lady Grey, I do quite love your dress.
Ah, thank you. It was in the cupboard, may I say. I pulled it out especially for this evening. I do so love occasions like this.
Storyteller, I do wonder, I don't know, how do you want me to refer to you? Toby?
Storyteller, that's fine. Toby's fine. Anything. Yeah.
I'm wondering, we probably would have, this would be a good time to review the agenda for the evening, I think, but we haven't really made one. So I'm wondering if you had one in mind that we would be savvy to.
I have some light plans, but I was aiming for this to be one of the first group activities, something that you would have discussed in the past. But as you go over your plans as well, in the present, you would effectively establish them in character.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect.
No, I wasn't asking for spoilers or anything. I meant,
No, that's quite all right.
is there something you had in mind? Like a performer or, I don't know.
That's fine.
You have had
Party tricks.
a good party of months to contact and collect any performers with the relatively established funds of grey property management at your back. Really, the world is almost your oyster. It depends on the taste of the individual as to what entertainment you end up procuring.
So, what do you guys think about sword swallowers? Is that something we could put on the itinerary?
Doesn't sword swallowing get boring after a while, brother?
Well, yeah, for after about 10 minutes, but they have other talents too. They're probably good at chugging, chugging alcohol.
Lady Grey, last I spoke with your boy, he had some connections. Do you know if he was able to procure any musicians for the night, or are we sticking with, DJ-esque played music? I don't know how to say that in a way that makes sense.
The little grey is here. He did accompany me, but he seems to have run off. He'll find his way back here.
I feel at this point, Rogue would probably jump up from behind the bar with a glass of vodka. Expensive vodka. When someone can drink this, they're going to indulge.
It's true.
Yeah, he's got a nice, neat vodka in his hand.
Does it work on you?
I feel like this is the perfect time for the first time that Lady Grey will facepalm.
It does work, right? Because you're thin. Can you get drunk?
I'm not sure how. I think that's a storyteller's rule if I get drunk or not.
Gotcha.
Well, we will see.
We will see.
Oh dear.
I like that.
Right. Don't worry, guys. I've managed to get a great guy. He should be here any minute. You said you wanted weed, right?
Not me. I don't partake in any of those. I'm sure that some of my herdlings wouldn't mind it, though.
Oh, it's true. Lola loves weed.
My dear little one, I've taught you to read the room before. Vampire, vampire, vampire. We have difficulties in that regard.
Yeah, and I'm the unlucky one.
Oh, but that's not true, little one. You're the luckiest of all of us. You get to stay with me.
It's true. Even Lady Grey doesn't get to stay with Lady Grey. You get all the benefits of her.
Oh, and there are a few. I was, however, storyteller, tasked with finding a musician. I mean, Rogue definitely hired a bunch of drug dealers to come to the club as well.
Yeah.
That is canon.
Of course.
Excellent.
Assuming I was actually tasked.
Down on the first night.
Honestly, I just said that because I assumed of us you would be the most connected to that type of scene.
I'm assuming I managed to get some talent in.
I mean, here's the most important question. You did arrange for us to get a cut, right?
How many pockets do you think my hands are in? The answer is all of them.
Good.
Yes.
Lady Grey, I thought that would be beneath you. Dealing with the drug. Pocket change that's pocket change for you, isn't it?
Well, when you run a large property management company, sometimes it gets a little boring dealing with all the paperwork. Sometimes you just want to get unbored.
That makes
That's
sense.
fair.
Plus some liquid assets as well.
If you want to shake down some drug dealers later, I'm game.
That's what I have the little one around for.
Cue the first time Ophelia face palms.
At the mention of the little one,
what are you
again,
face
Rogue-
palming for?
I don't like the idea of you beating up some drug dealers, shaking them down for money.
It's
No,
just for
crap.
the sport. It's for fun.
All right. At about that time, there is a knock on the front of the door. The door is half open anyway, so with the force of the 3 raps, it opens with each one, and pushing open, stepping in with her long, sleek leather black boots first. You see the visage of a woman who is fiery, relatively large in her build, but with deceptively tall and thin neck. It's a real odd amalgamation of characteristics. As she kind of stalks in, there's this tight leather frock with kind of lace and all wreathed in black around her, starting to conceal and reveal her form with each shift as it reveals sort of skin beneath the armpits, and generally has an aura or a shroud around her shoulders that accentuates her bright, fiery red hair. In one of her arms, she's got kind of what is a briefcase that is also black, and as she walks up, she stalks, relatively ignoring the 3 of you, to the bar, to Rogue. And with a clatter, she sets the suitcase down on the Rogue, onto the bar, looks at Rogue in the eyes, winks at him and says, "Give me a drink, honey."
One drink coming up for the lady.
As she spins around on the bar stool, she kind of looks each of you up and down as if judging you rather than taking you in. With a slightly more time to study her, you can see that there is a mass of tattoos that are really climbing over each other up the back of her calves, that are from the front concealed, but from behind reveal all the way up to sort of the upper thigh, to the point of being nary scandalous. I see that you're the new ones who are on the block then. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Luna.
Luna. And I am Oberon Valentine. Nice to meet you.
Oberon.
I actually love being judged, so I'll pull my shoulders back and stand up straighter and say, "Hello, Luna. Lovely to meet you. I'm Ophelia."
Ophelia. Excellent. And I believe I have heard of you. Is this the Lady Grey?
Indeed. A pleasure to make your acquaintance.
It's a pleasure to meet yours. And she steps up her bar and goes to shake your hand.
I'm gonna whisper to whoever's closest to me. I guess if Rogue is close enough to be discreet about it. I'm gonna say, "Am I supposed to know who that is?"
Has she left? Oh, you go on. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, I would assume not, since she's just introducing herself to Lady Grey as well.
Has she left the briefcase at the bar?
She has left the briefcase at the bar.
Oh, dear.
Can I attempt to open said briefcase?
You
Yeah, I
can.
saw that coming.
There are simple metal latches. There seems to be no lock. And
Okay.
with a deft flick, you open it up and see, almost like a poker chips briefcase, there are various insets in foam, and within are a relative trove of drugs: powdered cocaine, needles, other fun little bits of trivia. You see, the weed that you asked for is possibly the least exciting or enticing
Conspicuous.
drug that's on the briefcase in front of you. There's
If anyone,
25k worth here.
if anyone is even looking slightly at Rogue right now, his face is... He is just in awe.
I am
Oh,
certainly
well, that
looking.
explains it.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Okay. Luna, as she's introduced herself, kisses Lady Catelyn's hand in a slight bow before standing up and saying, I hope that we can do business again in the future. I've heard your pockets run very deep.
Yes, they do indeed. My family have been operating for quite a significant period of time.
And yet there are those you haven't yet associated yourself with, even within the city. Perhaps you should give us a call. And she takes from beneath her bra a business card and places it into your hand.
Ooh, is it sweaty?
Ooh.
On it,
She's not an anarch, is she?
well, on it written is her name, Luna. Her second name is just an M with a dot, so clearly abbreviated. There is a phone number there, and on the back, kind of embossed, is the sigil of the Anarchs.
Oh, you called it.
Ugh.
She's generally attractive or just a presence?
She is not stereotypically attractive. What she does have, though, is charisma and presence and a strut.
Okay,
There
nice.
is a power inherent in her walk. And that is a commanding presence, and from that is the attraction, perhaps.
Got it. I'd like to approach her,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd like to say, so, Miss Luna, will you be staying the night to enjoy the opening of our nightclub? I'd like to see the kind
Staying
of...
the night.
Staying here for the opening of the nightclub. I'd like to see the kind of trouble someone like you could get into.
I've had my fair share of trouble, and I don't think I'll miss an opportunity like this, but
Lovely.
I've learned it's best to stay out of the limelight in situations like this. You never know who's going to come calling.
It's a good approach. My brother
They're not
and I...
lime.
Go ahead.
We use purple lights. It's purple light.
That's good.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Lime is a dreadful color. We don't use that in here.
Aren't your pants lime?
She looks down.
Maybe.
I love it. Don't worry, Luna. My brother and I will soak up all the limelight and leave you guys to do your business in the shadows.
Yes, I might find a couple of playthings in the corner, but we'll see if they can. I believe that this will not be my home for long, judging by the decor. No offense, it simply doesn't reach out to those I find worthy in the same way that you do.
Yes, none
Whereas-
taken. Coming from an anarch, that's almost a compliment.
You will find that perhaps we have more things in common than you would initially think in these coming nights. The city is changing, Ophelia. You should ride the change. Well, if that's all, I'll see you tonight.
Give her a little twirl of my fingers. Goodbye.
She turns and stalks out of the room. As she does, she kind of points a finger pretty vulgarly at Rogue and says, "No, don't you touch any of that for yourself. That's for the lady, you got it?
My hands are off.
Good boy." And she leaves.
I'm not sure how I like that. He is my little one to commend.
I was just thinking that when she called him good boy, I was like, That is stepping over a line.
Hmm.
He's your good boy.
He's already left the stuff. Do you want me he doesn't get in? And I crack my knuckles.
Oh, I love that.
Little one, she has one more chance.
You're
Don't,
too forgiving.
Just we have an opening night to deal with. I
Yeah,
don't
now's
want
not
to bloodshed.
grand opening's not the time to make enemies.
Anyway, Rogue, I believe you said you had musicians arriving at some point.
Yes. Let me just go send a few texts. Sorry, phone calls. I know I'm not allowed a mobile.
Well, I'm sorry that I'm sticking to the traditions. These mobile phones have cameras on them, don't you know?
You know, we're gonna have to address this at some point because, I mean, I don't mind cameras one way or the other, but you know, Ophelia's gonna be pretty upset at this discrepancy.
I feel my own mobile burning in my purse and or pocket.
Well, thankfully, I don't have the responsibility of looking after you two. I'm just financially obligated to make sure that you return my money at some point.
You
That
don't.
little one over there, however, any masquerade breach he commits, or they commit, I should say, stains me as well.
I see.
I'm not in the habit of breaching the masquerade.
Understood, lady. Great.
Alrighty.
Well, that's two things. Or sorry, that's one thing off the checklist. Now, once the musicians arrive, then we'll be ready to open the doors soon.
While they were having that talk, I will have nipped out back and made those phone calls to see who is up.
Yeah, alrighty. So, if there is nothing pressing or any preparations that you guys wanted to make that was out of the ordinary, we will assume that everything goes forward as planned. Musicians arrive on time, begin testing, preparing their equipment. Drinks are laid out, coasters prepared, the VIP area upstairs cordoned off, and you begin to arrange yourself ready for the inaugural ceremony, as it were. You can hear the sound of chatter outside as the reach of Grey Property Management has sent out quite a few leaflets and flyers to those deemed worthy by Ophelia and Oberon to witness the event that will be the opening of this club. And looking outside the windows, you can see a real selection of dresses, from the most mundane or boring sort of suit and tie looks to exotic and fanciful masks and real creations rather than clothes, colourful boutiques, and everything as exotic and as wild as really the cultures on the earth are waiting outside, hoping and perhaps looking to have something to prove, indeed, to the club itself, knowing the promise of exclusivity is something that they can perhaps claim for themselves. So,
Nice.
We've got quite a turnout. You know, I was worried nobody was going to show up.
Ah, my dear, that was never going to be an option.
No one throws a party like a tea party.
You had it until you said the ripped jeans. Literally in the apartment just before we leave, it's tie, good, waistcoat, good, suit, shirt, perfect, jeans, not enough material. Fix. Big fix. Please, dear God, fix them.
He kept them on under his suit pants just so he could rip them off at the club.
Yep, that is now.
So now
Alrighty.
that there's people around, I'm starting to pulse with excitement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can feel the anticipation, and you're ready to savor what will be the events of the night as the mortals outside flood to you. You are hunters in a very different style. You have your prey coming to you, and as you can feel that anticipation, as you say, within your chest, I would like everyone, please, to make a hunger check. This is to represent what your starting hunger will be within the chronicle. It should either be a 1 or a 2, depending on if you fail or succeed. So if it is a success, your hunger will be 1. If it's a failure, I think we'll start at 2 for you.
You
Yeah,
have
so I
to
stay at
break
1.
that down.
Yeah, how do I
How
do
many
that?
dice do we roll?
Yeah, so it's a single d10. And if you roll a 6 or higher, or if it's if you've got the vampire dice, it will be a success or a failure. If it's 6 or higher, it's a success, and if it's a 5 or lower, it is a failure.
All right, I got a 6.
That's
I
a
just
success.
rolled 1 success on the online roller.
Excellent. So both of your hungers are 1. I believe Rogue also succeeded.
Watch Lady Grey be
Hooray,
the
we all
only
succeeded.
hungry one.
Excellent. All the prey coming through your doors, and no one's hungry. You have all been well prepared for this night, it seems. Is there any final preparations before the mortals flood in? And if not, then I'd ask where each of you would situate yourselves within. Would you either seclude yourself upstairs, be some of the first that they see upon the dance floor, or by a bar? Would you perhaps hide in downstairs, making sure that the final preparations are ready out of immediate eye line? And whoever wants to can kick us off on that.
I think that let me respond because I think you might agree with me. I think that we would be, how at like a wedding, at Jewish weddings they have like the bride sitting in like a central area where everybody can see her and approach her, and it's customary to go say hello, and she gives you her blessing on the day of her wedding. And I think we would do something similar to that, where we would be sitting somewhere slightly elevated and visible from pretty much anywhere in the main room. And then that way they would see us as the, the celebrity, whatever you want to call it, and anybody who wants to approach us, at least there will be a security. We're in like a VIP area, but anybody who's sufficiently high status can approach us.
Alrighty,
Perfect.
so you guys will be upstairs in the VIP area. What about Rogue? Where's Rogue hiding?
Initially, Rogue would have asked Lady if she required him around.
If I need you, you will know. You may go about whatever business you have.
In which case, he will be attending to the bar alongside the other workers.
Ooh, fun.
Excellent. And then finally, Lady Catelyn.
Yeah, Lady Catelyn Grey will be probably starting off down in the loading bay, just making sure the stocks are flowing through, making sure people have access to what they need.
Excellent.
She'll check in with the kitchens to make sure that they're fully stocked, just in case anything's gone wrong.
Yeah, alrighty. The final checks are made, and everything seems to be in perfect working order as different teams sound off to you. The occasional one kind of breaching protocol to wish you good luck, even on this auspicious occasion. but you are satisfied with the work of your employees. And as the floodgates open and the mortals stream forth, the music starts to grow and cascade as a real flood of people wash in, experiencing for the first time this new and unique nightclub here in the center of Broadmouth. Even looking around at each other, it is a beautiful place, but even within, the style here screams Toreador in the taste of it, the richness and the ostenticity almost of it. As the music again grows louder and louder, some people dance. There's immediately the sound of clinking glasses, deals are made, chuckles had, conversation and bought, bargained for by the various members within. Upstairs, ascending the platform towards the owners in the eyes of the public of this establishment, Oberon and Ophelia, multiple members of the local council come up. The mayor himself is present, though wearing a relatively drab suit and tie compared to some of the more out there looks of those on his shoulder. But also saying hello to you are some members and perhaps some famous people you might even recognize yourselves. Fellow actors, fellow people in the music and arts industry, owners of rival clubs introduce themselves to you, and swift and cutting conversation is had with either the trade of slightly biting remarks or the nonsense words exchanged with those who don't know you, do not know really why this club exists, and are oblivious to the hunting nature of its existence.
I would definitely want to play up the etiquette and not risk offending anybody. But at the same time, if they're going to be making witty, cutting remarks, then I'll try to, in a good-natured way, play it back towards them.
Alrighty. We are going to have one of our first rolls then of the night, as in this kind of witty back and forth repartee, changing scenes and tones, really with every different person that you meet. Could I get a charisma plus etiquette check, please, for you to try and bounce off the conversation with these folks?
So I have 4 charisma and 2 etiquette. What did you say? Insight or etiquette?
6 die.
Etiquette, yeah.
Okay. So that's a 6, right?
That would be 6 dice, one of which is hunger.
1 hunger?
Oh, so 5
See,
in the die.
have you looked at the dice roller? The online
I think
dice
you put
roller?
down 5 for your dice, then you put the hunger on 1, so you'd have 6 total.
Gotcha.
2 successes, possible bestial failure. I'm gonna kill this fucker.
Brilliant first roll.
Oh, I love it.
2 successes is unfortunately enough to succeed.
Okay, good.
Perhaps it is the some measure of the stress or the nerves that you're experiencing as part of this night, but your jokes come a half second too late or slightly off kilter with some folks, to the point that you are trading back and forth, but you are not a witty machine constantly rattling off banter to folks. And perhaps it's the fear or the feeling of the beast within you that has the urge with these beautiful people coming up and, kissing you and kissing not your sister but your faux sister, as it were, on the hand. The flesh against yours is a temptation that perhaps distracts you as well. Is there anything that Ophelia would be doing through this time as well?
I generally let Oberon deal with the people
Hmm.
socially, but I would like to be kind of looking around, checking if there's anybody who looks particularly malleable and up to my taste.
Okie dokie. So, could you describe slightly more what you're looking for then?
Yes, uh, male or female, that doesn't matter quite so much, but I'm looking for someone who has a nice sense of self and is well put together, a nice sense of style, and who isn't just indulging in all of the alcohol and drugs and people around them, but kind
Hmm.
of soaking in the elegance of the atmosphere.
Alrighty. Um, okay.
And not necessarily to take any action right away, but just sussing
Yeah.
it out, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Um, you're a relatively aware individual, able to gauge folks relatively quickly with a single glance sometimes. And you see a relatively tall gentleman, quite dark complexion, long dreadlocks, um, relatively elegantly tied back behind an open suit, slightly blue shirt, and a black tie. He almost looks like he's a musician of some form in his garb, ready for a function gig. But it's the way that he carries himself, the breadth of his shoulders and the straightness of his back that makes you think that this is a man who carries himself well and has a good sense of what he is amidst. He carries with him as well a glass tumbler with perhaps some whiskey or brandy within a couple of ice cubes cracked in their midst. And he takes kind of a sip, seems to survey the room before walking into a circle, breaking into the conversation, and starting to mingle with some folks. And they take to him well, which is perhaps elegantly done for a man of his colour in this area.
Okay, nice. I'll file that away in my pocket, but not act yet. I'm still kind of letting the night roll
Right.
along, you know?
Okie dokie. Catelyn, we'll come to you next, actually. Would you still be sequestering yourself downstairs away from the prying eyes of the public?
No, as soon as the staff will have let slip to her that the mayor is on site,
Yes.
she will have immediately headed upwards to prowl around within the club per se to find him. She still has some influence with the local council and the local government,
Absolutely.
and if the mayor has deigned to ordain her newest endeavour, then of course she must see him.
Yes, that is quite right. And would you have a personal relationship with the mayor himself, do you think? Is he someone that you have previously met in person or only exchanged pleasantries with over telephone or letters?
I imagine that they've had dealings before. She's probably done work for him. It's kind of one of those relationships where they do each other favors.
Yes, yes.
You rezone this lot for me, and I'll make these nasty people go away. That
Excellent.
sort of thing.
Alrighty. So the mayor then you would know to be Mr. Owen Hargreaves. A portly gentleman, definitely, to be sure. One who has managed to maintain the popularity of the people. A self-made man, somewhat perhaps similar to yourself, who's grown rich off the back of an empire. And it is him who has overseen the restoration of Broadmoor, brought in so many new trades, established the tourism, built the Broadwalk. So many areas really owe their allegiance, loyalty, and trust to this man in particular. And so with him gracing your presence, you find your way upstairs to meet and engage him in conversation.
Ah, well, if it isn't Mr. Hargreaves, the pleasant mayor himself.
Oh, Lady Catelyn, I'm so glad to have made it. This place is wonderful. I love the change that you have made. So much nicer than the old place, don't you think?
Yes, well, I make a promise to restore a building to grandeur, and what can I say I deliver?
Well, the arts are booming thanks to you yet again in this city, and it is such a wonderful rejuvenation we are doing here. Isn't it good to see the good works?
Well, thank you for your kind words, my dear mayor. Are you suitably refreshed? Can I offer you more refreshments? Perhaps a meal?
I have seen some of the refreshment that is taking place here, and though I do not professionally have an interest, you know me, I do have my own little tastes, and I know that you can provide many things for those, and you know that I can provide many things, and perhaps our mutual provisions should serve each other, and continue to as they have done. But for now, I am at ease. This is a wonderful place, and I wish to simply enjoy the night as normal.
Marvelous. Well, if you wish to enjoy, I shall leave you to it. I shall leave you, and I will bid you farewell for now. But if you need anything, especially if you need anything from me, let one of the staff know that you need to see me, and they will make sure I am brought to you.
I know how to contact you, Lady Catelyn. It's always a pleasure.
Have a good night, sir.
He tips an imaginary hat to you as you head off back down. Where is it that you would head to, out of interest?
She'd probably now lean on whatever railing there is in the VIP area and have a quick scan of the downstairs area just to see who's in, see if she can scan the VIP area, see if she can spot anyone else that she needs to ingratiate herself with.
Okay. I think we'll give just a quick roll for that. I'll give you your choice of wits and etiquette or wits and awareness.
Oh, wits and etiquette, definitely.
Righty.
That's a dice pool of 4. That's annoyingly 1 success.
1 success. Alrighty. As you scan over the masses beneath, unfortunately, your eyes are brought to the bird of paradise-like endowed figures, who just the amount of colour continues to draw you rather than the faces themselves, which are too often concealed from the high vantage point that you have above. So you're not really spotting anyone else at the moment.
Well, you can't say I didn't try.
And would you stay there for a minute, just kind of overlooking the area?
Yeah, I think she'll be quite comfortable and quite at ease watching from above.
Excellent. All right. Rogue.
Hello.
The agenda.
I mean, Rogue will literally just, for the first half of the night, very much just about having a good time for him. You know, they've all got their plans. I'm just here to A, drink, B, socialise. C, drugs.
Excellent.
I suppose, if anything, though, he will be keeping an eye out of some sort to see if any other kindred entered the place.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do you want to give me a roll for that one as well?
Yes, what would you like rolled?
I would love wits and awareness, I think, for this.
Oh boy, that's a whole 2.
Nice.
That's 2 successes, though.
You got 2 successes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic. The most aware, somehow, of the night. This isn't a pulsing nightclub where bodies are writhing everywhere and there's just pounding bass and sweat and grinding. This is a more swanky area where interesting conversation is often had. And though there is music and a dance floor and currently a real atmosphere, it's quite easy, really, for you, especially with the experience you have around kindred and some of your specializations in studying them. You find it relatively obvious when some kindred
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear a word of that.
I think
I
Andre
have
needs to
muted
mute.
Oberon
Yeah,
temporarily.
perfect.
I was that. Did you guys hear my
Yeah.
ventilation? I'm sorry.
Is that what it was?
I went to turn it off, and my headphones got pulled out.
I see.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
apologize.
I just thought it was some monster or something that entered, started breathing heavily down. No, that's all good. Yes, you relatively easily and astutely. Do you actually notice what appears to be a youngish guy in a really well trimmed goatee? I don't know if you have seen the Hunger Games,
Nope.
but the first game maker in that, he has a very immaculate beard where no single hair is out of place. And he has basically up against the wall a slightly younger woman than him. He's perhaps 30 something, she's definitely low 20s. And as he's staring at her in her eyes, she goes to leave before, caught in his stare, takes his hand and begins to wander just kind of to one of the booths, perhaps more out of sight. And this is definitely triggering some alarm bells for you, Rogue.
Right. Question, would the coach all have a walkie-talkie or some form of earpiece or something?
I
you have
like the
thought
sound
that
of
far ahead?
that. But yeah, the question is, would we have thought of it?
Yes, that is the question.
I think Miss Lady Grey would make sure we thought of everything like that.
Yeah, she'll have made sure that everyone's got some kind of discreet head, even if it's a little wireless earbud
Yeah.
in the ear or something. 2012, do they have? Yeah, no, they had wireless earbuds. in
Yeah.
2012,
Yeah.
especially for walkie-talkies. Yeah, there's definitely some kind of communication network.
Lovely. Rogue is then just going to put his finger to his ear and just possible kindred sighting, just so everyone's aware, and then he's going to make his way over.
I would just like to keep my eyes trained on Rogue as he walks across the floor.
Do you
Excellent.
need me, little one, or have you got this?
Can I cut off his hand?
Have you thought about perhaps
Yes.
speaking to him first?
Oberon, why don't you go with him? You're quite good at dealing with people.
I might as well. I'll go intercept Rogue then.
Alrighty. So Oberon begins to relatively quickly, knowing that time may be of the essence with the single-minded nature of Rogue, scuttle down the stairs. Rogue, though, around this time, you have pushed past a couple of folks to find sitting down, again, almost cornered on a bench around one of these lovely tables, is currently the making out couple of these two people. They are snogging.
Okay. I'm assuming we've kind of got wait staff that will walk around the dance floor with drinks. That seems like the kind of aesthetic this club would have. So what I might try and do is just grab a couple of drinks or passing wait staff before I walk over.
Love it.
I'm just going to then walk over to them, place them on the table in front, your drinks, and I'm going to just lean in close to him and go, "Don't even try it."
Alrighty. He jumps despite himself and looks up at you, and then continues to look down at you and takes in the mass of you. You can see the intensity of your stare. And as he's perhaps leans away, his neck kind of arcing to avoid your stare. He says, "What, is a man not allowed to have his fun here?"
As long as the fun... Actually, is Oberon going to be about this time?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll walk behind Rogue, and I'll say, "Good evening. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Oberon, the proprietor of this establishment, and you would be
my name is Otto.
Otto von Bismarck."
I wish. No, I don't command any allegiance of Germany or any folk like that. In fact, I try and stay clear of the nutters, given the links they have here, Gesellschaft and all that. Now, where's the rest of you?
So you're just passing through, is that it?
I'm looking for information.
Of what nature?
How astute you all are, for one.
Oh, well, we're very astute here, as you can see by the decor. It's an astute decor.
An astute decor. I mean, that sounds like some French bullshit.
You seem to be a bit, judging by your accent. Let me phrase this carefully. You're bringing it down. You're really ruining the atmosphere.
Oh, I'm bringing it down, am I?
Yes.
Really? Would you prefer
Yes.
if I talked like this? Perhaps that would prick up your dick a little more.
Yeah, keep talking aggressively. That's definitely bringing up the mood in here.
Rogue's kind of going to crack his neck, kind of intimidate him a little.
Oh,
So, Otto,
Sinbad, you don't have power here in that sense. You could probably break me in half if you wanted to, but the Camarilla would tear you all into shreds.
you would think that the Camarilla would introduce themselves before entering our domain like this.
You'd think they would, wouldn't you? We have our
Yeah.
rules.
And they'd probably send somebody with more taste.
Well, I was invited.
By?
He pulls out a familiar leaflet. It is one that you and Ophelia had many arguments over exactly how it should be printed and distributed and to whom it should be distributed. And this is, in fact, a leaflet to a gentleman called Otto, no surname, and it is only now, and perhaps you're kicking yourself a little bit, that you realise, Otto, one of the Harpies of Elysium.
Otto. Oh, my mistake. I didn't realize you were invited. It's just that the way you were treating my associate here, it really, like I said, we're trying to foster an atmosphere here. You understand.
I do understand. Hence my business here, and hence why I thought perhaps the rest of you would be about soon for a little chat.
I'll arrange it right now. And yeah, with that, I'm just going to bow my head ever so mockingly and go off in search of Lady Grey.
I'll go get my sister.
You do that. I'll be here with a gal.
Ooh, Otto.
Alrighty. So, does Rogue contact Lady?
Yeah, I'm assuming she's fairly easy to spot. I know her quite well.
You probably, yeah, you know her very well. You know where she would choose to stand.
And am I also aware that this man is a Harpy?
I would not think so. I would think that you had seen the change in address of Oberon and gauged that something is up. But as a thin blood, I think you have attempted to stay away from the Camarilla as
Yeah,
much
I
as
don't go to Elysiums.
and I don't believe you would recognise this individual nor his name.
Mm. Just going to come up close and be like, Mom, we.
What was that?
I think you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, you glitched for me a little bit.
No. Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're
I
better
can
now.
now.
Okay, thank God.
Basically, just start the dialogue over. That's where it cracked up.
Yeah. Mother, we might have a man named Otto affiliated with Camarilla.
Do I recognise the name?
As a well-established member of the city, I would say yes. Without having to roll, you would recognise Otto with the reference to the Camarilla, definitely.
Ah, marvellous. You show me right to him, Rogue. I'm assuming you know where he is, little one.
Yeah. I'll lead her over. I am not saying it's in the middle of the frickin' open. She can experience the dance floor.
Oh, God.
Okie dokie. So, to my mind, the four of you would convene at roughly similar times. Heading down to this more kind of secluded booth in the corner. As you arrive, you can see that Otto has kind of either finished up whatever business he's had, as he slaps the girl on the butt and kind of sends her walking off, slightly dazed, into the crowd. You're unaware if he either had a very quick feed or if he has just ended whatever mesmerization-esque powers that had previously held dominion over her. Would you sit in the kind of circular booth with him, or stand as a group, or who would lead you in this?
I just want to say, being awkward, I would just plop right down.
Me too.
I have no pretense.
We want to sit on either side of him.
Oh, God.
No, I wanted to sit across from him.
Oh, well, I want to sit right next to him.
Okay.
There's the second face palm from Lady Green.
Excellent. So I think we have, on one side, we have Otto and Oberon, and then three on the other side, or...
Oh, Lady Catelyn's standing until she, until welcomed to sit at the booth.
Okay, yeah.
Rogue won't be sitting at all. Rogue will kind of just be stood at the opening to the booth, just making sure no one's dilly-dallying around.
With a wave of his hand, he kind of welcomes you in, Catelyn. Is it Caitlin? I forget.
Catelyn.
Okay.
She doesn't really mind.
Okay. I think it is Caitlin, but I keep on saying Catelyn because of how it's spelled. Caitlin, one of the old blood at least. Someone with a little more sense. It's nice to see you.
It's a pleasure to see you here.
Yes. Perhaps you need to rein in the young one a little bit more. Perhaps the brand isn't enough to teach him his manners.
You know, if you were this courteous earlier, then we wouldn't have had a problem.
I did RSVP. Technicalities, you'll find, are my speciality.
I would like to very bluntly just say, who are you? I'm Ophelia. Lovely to meet you.
You, well, like a lot of folks here, are a beauty, my dear. And he gives you a slightly creepy kiss. There's something about him that it doesn't scream predator or anything as sinister as that. It screams like slime.
Okay.
This guy is someone who will slither his way into your life and attempt to break you to his end or something. And it makes you recoil a little bit, perhaps, but he kisses you on the wrist and says, I am Otto. I am a well-known, established, perhaps, Harpy of this area. I deal with the politics, and really I found that this investment by the Lady Grey was something noteworthy enough for me to make time in my calendar to investigate.
Hmm.
By the way, Oberon, is your dick pricked yet?
It doesn't prick anymore ever since I've returned. So
Mine does, and this isn't cutting it.
metaphorically, it is.
Now, my darling Otto, this kind of verbal behaviour, we don't need it here, do we? We're in pleasant company.
We are, but they are young. You see, they are new, and I need to see how they can respond to some of the dangers that they might perhaps encounter if they are to take up residence in a city as busy as this. We need, as you have always said, the masquerade to be upheld. And if these two let slip anything at the merest provocation by me, a little bit of verbal banter, or even taking on a funny accent, then I'm afraid they're not necessarily worth your time, my dearest Catelyn.
And yet, I have deigned to give them my time and my investment.
If you are willing to vouch for them, then that would give them great standing, I'm sure. But until then...
Well, you know, vouching for someone and investing in them are two different steps.
Best to wait for them to prove themselves first.
Exactly.
Nevertheless,
You might not realize this, but I am famous. Just to let you know.
I love that. Sorry.
he...
In which world, darling?
Yes.
The kindred world or the mortal world?
It's been
That would have been
Was that a
whole-
rhetorical question?
I mean, we all know the answer already.
Exactly. We are, as you see, on a different page to you. There is the real world and the mortal world. You perhaps might be famous in one, though really not that famous if you're only drawing these crowds. There's a different level of fame once you pass a certain threshold, and perhaps you need to learn that amongst some other things if you are to make it in this city. There are so many meetings these days.
Well,
We're just looking to have a good time.
although I will say we are fast learners, my brother and I, so perhaps with the right instruction.
Well, it is a sink or swim sort of city at this time, so fast learning will be to your aid. I
It's
myself
fun.
do have the feeling that you, my dear, should make it if you were to listen to the right instructor.
Well,
Do you need
let's.
instruction?
I kind of side eye my brother shyly. um, and I'll just clear my throat and say, perhaps, but I'll stick with the Lady Grey for now, thank you.
That's fine. There are far more monstrous folks than me who will probably frequent your nightclub many times. It's good that you're able to contain yourself. You should learn well. Now, I didn't come here simply to bring distaste to your mouths and exchange witty banter and repartee to gauge you out. You're frankly not important enough. What I did have, though, was information. Should you be willing to trade?
You say trade.
I say trade.
You have information. What are your terms to receive it?
I see myself as an investor of a different sort, perhaps. should you make it, it would be good to have eggs in your baskets, as it were. So, I have information pertaining to this very establishment within which we sit, and the history thereof, and how Grey Properties did acquire it with such alacrity. The need for renovation, perhaps, might be of your... It may be of interest to you, for which exchange I only require one major boon from the coterie.
And pray tell, what use does your information have to us?
Well, it is information that may well prevent you breaking the masquerade and me having to send in the sheriff and his cronies to close this place up once again.
I would like to leave this to Lady Grey to take care of since it's directly related to her property, but I would kind of like just blurt out, like, what information could you have that the lady wouldn't have about her own property?
Well, Catelyn, when did you come into this property? When did you buy it? Do you even know?
My company deals with most property purchases on my behalf. A big company like mine, I don't get involved in absolutely everything.
Exactly.
Understood. The minutiae is beneath you.
Perhaps
Go on.
educate these yourselves.
What's the price?
Boon. A major one.
Sorry, what is that? Out of character, what does that mean?
Okay, yeah. You are not new to Kindred Life. So you would know... Well, does anyone else actually want to explain this? Nope, I'll jump right into it.
You go ahead.
Yeah. A boon is really the currency of Kindred. It is a favour. Generally between vampires, physical currency or monetary currency isn't actually what's most important. It's the complicated web of favours that can be used for exchanges of information, deeds done for others. That is the true currency of those who walk unlife. A major boon is a strong debt. He could ask you to murder people for him and claim it as your own and hide it from everyone else. He could claim you to kidnap the mayor and hold him hostage, and you would pretty much have to agree. Perhaps that's a little strong, actually. But he is effectively looking to claim one over you and for you to be in his debt. And should you refuse to do any of this, you can take it up with the prince, and should you have been found to be wasting their time, the punishments are severe. And going up against an Elysium Harpy, who is one very schooled in these arguments, perhaps these debates, would be a challenging system. Does that explain it?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I understand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why don't we discuss it amongst ourselves, and we'll get back to you,
Excellent.
Professor.
I'll be here all night.
Don't stay too late. You don't want the sun catching you.
Although he is a little creepy, I'll still give him a signature little finger wave as we leave. Look back over my shoulder. I like to keep little seedlings wherever I can.
Alrighty. Do the four of you then each depart?
Unless somebody has something else to say. If not, then can we go somewhere? Probably in the
business
back
floor?
or something. Yeah. We'll go, back inside into the kitchens or whatever.
Rogue would definitely notice the stare of distaste that is thrust upon him by this Camarilla Harpy. It's the look of one who's found unspotted shit on his shoe.
Specifically
Gonna wink.
Rogue, right?
Yes. Luke's just going to give a wink, blow a kiss.
Saucy little boy.
All right.
So we're in private now?
Yeah, where is it you'd convene?
We probably have, like... Oh, let's go to the blood room.
Yeah.
Blood room, blood room, blood room, blood room.
The excitement. All right, so you make your way downstairs, out of the public eye, even really out of most of your employees' eyes, to this safe and secure room.
Mm-hmm. So I'm
Definitely
gonna have...
behind one of those doors.
I'll sit down and I'll say he already gave us a hint, right? He asked Lady Catelyn. He said that it's got to do with the property, and so I'm sure we could probably investigate this on our own. What do you guys think?
Possible.
I guess, Lady Grey, since you probably have the most insight into this particular situation, how valuable is information from Otto worth what he's asking for?
Whether it's worth it or not, that's his asking price. There's not going to be much we can do to negotiate him down. It depends on how damning the information is.
How could it possibly lead to us violating the masquerade just because of the property?
It's a good question.
It's a very good question.
Do you think it's possible that this was previously vampires? What's the word I'm looking for? Home. Come on, help me out here.
Their haven.
Their haven, yes. You think it used to be a haven before, perhaps?
It's very possible that this could belong to a kindred that has met their final death.
Theory. I'm gonna use my divination here, okay? You guys ready?
Yes. Do you have a word?
I need absolute silence. That means you, Rogue.
Rogue's just at the fridge, slurping on a blood pack.
Little one, I need you to stop slurping.
I love it.
Actually, is there... Wait. Could I use... Wait, what does premonition do?
I mean, it sounds useful.
I think it's a more immediate effect, like a car is about to hit you or something.
Have a look. Allspecs, premonition. The vampire experiences flashes of insight. These may take the form of raised hackles, sudden inspiration, or even vivid visions. While never too precise, these visions can nudge the vampire out of harm's way, or reveal a truth previously overlooked.
That's so I might as well give it a shot. We'll see what the storyteller gives us. So yeah, I'll use my premonition then.
Alrighty. Is there any preparation you would take for this undertaking, or would you simply activate the blood and feel it pulse through you and attempt to effectively see some visions? Or
Well, I need. I'm listening to the music from above. Actually, is this room sort of like soundproof?
I would
It will be
assume.
soundproofed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, then, in that case, Oberon's going to have his. He's going to put on his headphones and play a song on his iPod. This is, well, this is the in between. They weren't really making iPods anymore at this point, huh? People still had the iPod
Yeah,
Touch,
you
I
could
think,
have still
in
had
2012.
one. Yeah.
I still have
Um,
an iPod original.
Yeah.
I wish I still had mine.
Yeah.
You would probably have an iPod original over an iPod Touch, given that the touch screen technology does not work with your
Yes.
fingers.
That's a great point.
Oh, yeah, it requires heat, huh?
Shame. If only you was a thin lad.
Rogue, come push this song.
Come push the buttons for us.
You log me into my phone.
So he's gonna play himself a song and at random, and try to gain. He's gonna listen to the words, and in my mind, a couple particular lines may stick out of the song and grant him some insight.
Alrighty. So you stick on. You stick in your earbuds, and would you sit down for this?
Yes.
And just kind
I'm
of in the
sitting
middle.
down. Yeah, I'm not doing like any yoga poses or anything. I'm just laying back as totally relaxed. You know, legs splayed out and arms on the cushions.
Alrighty. And so as you hit kind of shuffle on your iPod, your own way of kind of invoking the random chants of the universe to bring you into an unprepared state where you can push past the veil of this reality, as it was termed, and instead push into the reality of the immortal, the reality where magic is fact, not fiction. And as you let the music sway you and move you, as it really always has, a song comes on, and as the music begins to take hold, it's a perhaps slightly calming tune initially, before a rhythmic bass line kicks in with drums. And as these give it quite a pushing feel, you can sense the intensity of where this music is driving to. It fades away on some key lyrics for you. And morning finds my night's work, lights the remnants on display. I do not seek forgiveness, nothing to absolve. They survey the frozen scene.
Are you typing this, Rita?
Yeah, I can copy and paste this for you as well.
That would work too.
The cold countenance of hell, and they hang their heavy heads. I'm seen as death itself. The shadows cross my face, all the signs of my mistakes. Shallow graves I mark with stones as I walk the road of bones.
Is this an actual song you went and looked up, or is this?
Yes, this is a song that I know.
Nice.
And do you want that in useful documents, or do you want that in general?
Maybe useful documents, because I think general will move
I
quickly.
think we should have a notes. No, I think we should have a notes channel.
Sure.
Yeah.
Rather, because I don't want to have to go searching for useful documents.
That makes
Notes,
sense.
lore
Or
/
in
notes.
game, yeah, something like that. There we
I
go.
called it in-game notes for now, and we can switch it up as and when. Oh, that's the second thing now. That needs to go first. Woohoo!
Oh, it was sexy and I know it. The words came from that song. I knew it.
Oh, do you know the song?
I knew the lyric. No, I'm making a joke.
Oh, I
I
see.
said sexy and I know it.
Oh, I see.
It is scary how few of these songs I actually remember.
Yeah, what the heck is Mama Do the Hump?
Oh my goodness! Oh, what tunes!
Are these the songs of the year?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
this might be the UK chart though,
Oh,
because
Starships, Nicki Minaj. Yes. Oh
I
my
mean, Taylor Swift's on there. I recognise Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
I like Taylor Swift.
I mean, Gangnam
Titanium
Style's
was
on
a
there,
good
guys.
song.
Oh, Bangarang.
And Maroon 5's Payphone.
Yeah.
I'm at a payphone. And we are Twitch streaming, so I'm not going to sing anymore.
it was beautiful though.
Nice. The Jay-Z one, I'll be honest.
Oh,
I got
Gangnam
most of the rest
Style.
of them, but I've never heard that one.
Which one? Oh, the number
Number
6?
six.
It's
Yeah.
a good one. It's a good song. I mean,
I
if you
can't
like...
believe Carly Rae Jepsen's Call Me Maybe made it to 4th. I mean, that's a good song, but I don't think
That's
it's
still
4th.
pretty high, yeah.
It was in everybody's head though, I feel.
It's true. It's like
A
that
lot of
word
people
maggot.
also ironically. I feel like people liked it ironically and non-ironically. You know?
So it got
Oh my
both
god, I've just seen
sides.
moves like Jagger.
Dude, I can't believe this
Oh
was
god, that song.
2012.
Oh, this is nearly 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
that's crazy. All right.
Wow, that was a nostalgia throwback. That was.
But we are inhabiting people who exist in this world.
Hey, Rogue.
Hello.
Let's see your art interpretation skills. What do you think of these lyrics?
I have to read the notes now.
What was that? I don't know if I slightly lost you.
I
I
was just
asked
saying I have to
Rogue what
read.
I asked Rogue what their interpretation is.
I mean, something terrible.
Going back, Rogue is going to pick up the blood pack, take a long slurp. We're fucked.
So is there what happens now with the power that I used? Am I hungry now?
Yeah, I forgot. It is a rouse check when it's free or one rouse check, and I was trying to figure out why. It's a rouse check if you take an active thing.
Yes.
That's why. Yeah. So it says the same hunger roll that you did earlier. Just roll a single die, and whether or not you succeed or fail, the power still activates. It's just a determination of whether your hunger increases.
0 successes.
Yeah. So you go up all the way to hunger 2, which is really not that high. In case you guys aren't aware, Hunger 1 is the minimum that you can go to without murder, without drinking someone dry, without taking the last drop. Most humans can slake 1 easily and can usually slake 2 hunger as well. But at that point, you're risking some serious conditions to them, just so you're aware as well. Because I'm remembering that you haven't necessarily played Vampire, the role-playing game, before.
Right.
A little one, did you just say we're fucked?
Yep.
Number 1, you are aware I do not appreciate language like that. Number 2, what do you mean?
Sorry, Mum.
You're forgiven. Question number 2.
I mean, it sounds like something I wrote when I was having emo stage,
Yeah.
which was last week for all we know.
You're not really giving me much practicable.
Actionable.
Sorry, I made it a word.
Practical.
You're not giving. Yes, practical. That's what I was going for. You're not giving me practical information here, little one.
Seems like something terrible happened here.
Rogue's is slowly going to sink behind the counter, still slurping on a blood pack.
Did you say the first lyrics were "And morning finds my night's work"?
Are they going to frame us or something. If we don't play their game, that
Perhaps you were right. Perhaps someone did meet their final death here at the hands of sunlight.
Certainly something to that extent. Shallow graves are mentioned, seen as death itself.
Why would anyone go out willingly in the sunlight, though? This had to have been murder.
You're quite right, little one. That's what I suspect.
and they want to implicate us.
Not necessarily implicate, but it sounds like they're using the information for their own gain.
What would happen if it was found out that this property was the site of a vampire's true death? Are you should it be should be left alone? How does that implicate you in breaking the masquerade if they're not doing anything nefarious?
It depends on who's leveling the accusations. If someone level-headed and humane was handling the accusations, then someone like me would put in place an investigation, find out what happened, and, be level-headed. On the other hand, someone less level-headed, like most of the other kindred on this planet, would probably send someone else to their final death.
Ah.
We are now the owners of this place could be used to create a subplot blaming us for the fate of the previous kindred.
Got it.
In layman's terms, bingo.
I wonder what the timeline is that they plan to extort us.
I am tempted to take Otto up on his offer.
Sounds like it might.
Now I want to get my hands on this information and
Clean
perhaps stop him using it.
The Camarilla hate me as it stands. I would sooner play it safe.
We don't want to get on his bad side. I think you're right.
Agreed. Although I do wonder, do you have any idea that... Oh, I guess you don't. Until Toby's back, I guess I wouldn't ask you this.
I just got back.
Oh, great.
Perfect timing.
Do you have any idea the types of favors a man like Otto is like to ask?
It's a major boon. He's going to want us to kill someone.
Got it.
It's very possible.
I mean, you are free as a political animal to attempt an insight check effectively upon him.
I would love to do that when we go to discuss the terms of the deal. Since I think we all kind of agree, at least we have to start forging a relationship towards accepting. Yeah, we're fucked, as Mr. Rogue, Little Rogue has said.
That's Mr. Grey.
Oh, nice. So I guess, yeah, should we return to the Harpy?
Indeed.
Okay, so if the coterie is in agreement, then you make your way out of the secure blood room, heading back upstairs towards, and as soon as you come up, there's the music has returned to you, but perhaps you don't quite have the sense of joyous anticipation so much as a little bit of dread settling. What is that word? Sitting at the pit of each of your stomachs. Climbing back up, you find Otto still reclined, now seemingly savouring some wine in a large red wine glass. She's sniffing it and practicing twirling it perhaps aromatically, but not taking a sip. He kind of pretends not to notice you until you make yourselves obvious, before yet again welcoming you into his booth.
Ah, a good vintage.
So I've been told.
I would like to attempt to see what I could glean from him.
Sure, go for it. I think for this, if you are just staring at him and not trying to get a response out of him for anything, I'd give composure plus insight. If you're trying to manipulate him into revealing something, then I could give manipulation.
I'm good with composure and insight.
Cool.
So that's 6 and 1 hunger. Cool.
You have a speciality in vices.
Yeah.
I
Which I don't
think
think it
that
matches. Yeah.
quite applies here. Yeah.
All right. I got 5 successes.
You got 5 successes.
Yes.
Okay. So just to again give you guys a heads up, 5 successes here on my storyteller screen. Is described as the difficulty of convincing a cop that this isn't your cocaine.
Quite difficult.
Rebuilding a wrecked engine block. It's about as hard as running across a tightrope whilst under fire.
Oh wow.
That's
So
quite
Wowee.
that is quite a success.
I like to say I got under his skin once he kissed my wrist.
Yeah. And so as the rest of the coterie kind of begin the introductory statements, you actually pick up a study of character. You know people you like and you know people you don't, and you know how they tick. I'm starting to get the sense of perhaps from Ophelia. And despite the relatively cool demeanor, despite the aromatic twirling of the wine, he is perhaps an artist in a different sense, an artist of deception. For whilst the wine captures each of your eyes, you don't see the rest of you, the tapping, or kind of the ring finger underneath the bench, perhaps betraying a tension or a hint of nerves that this isn't going to go his way. It's quickly stopped before it can give much, but you glean that he is under some pressure here. There is something pushing him towards this end. And you're not sure which. You're not a mind reader.
Right. Fair enough.
All is not necessarily as it appears.
So, although I was going to kind of let Lady Grey take the lead, once I realize this, I'd like to reach out and touch the hand that's holding the wine glass, take it from him, and inhale deeply before setting it down. And I'd like to say, well, Otto, we've discussed your offer, and while we'd like to make a deal with you, I fear that a major boon is just a bit too much to ask for what you're offering. Would you be willing to rework the terms of this arrangement?
An ambitious one. Well, my dear, usually you do not negotiate with the Camarilla. That being said, I'd find myself in relatively pleasant company. Your faces are pleasing. Perhaps even a moderate boon from you would be enough to accomplish much if you are to rise far in this city.
I would take this opportunity to do a side glance to Lady Grey and see if her face has changed at all.
You'll notice she has somewhat of a small smirk on her face.
Okay. I'd like to kind of sit back in the booth a little and display my hands out and say, Coterie? What do you
My
think?
dear Otto, you have, while you try to play your cards close to your chest, you may have dropped one or two out of your hand there. You say you speak for the Camarilla. Who specifically do you speak for?
I am the voice of the Camarilla. I am a Harpy. I serve the masquerade. No prince, no regent. Though I obey the laws of the Camarilla, and therefore the laws of the princes. My voice, I assure you, is the voice of the Camarilla.
And yet, with the way you are speaking, sounds like someone is pulling your strings.
Of course.
So pray tell, who is holding the other end of the strings in this particular conversation? I like to know who I'm dealing with.
For now, you're dealing with Otto of the Camarilla. And there are many people pulling my strings as I pull each other's. We are a tangled spider web, you and I. You know the mayor, I know the mayor. You know the prince, I know the prince. Cato himself has given me missions, and I'm sure Cato himself has given you yours, though through many, many middlemen. We are the Camarilla. We are faceless. You want to know who you're dealing with? Join the Anarchs.
Ooh.
I like the way you work,
It's the first intelligent
Otto.
thing you've said today.
I
I think we should. I think we should. Instead of playing all these politics, I think we should. Let's do a team building exercise. How about that? Let's build some trust between our little coterie here and noble Otto von Bismarck. What do you think, Otto? Are you willing to do a trust exercise with us?
Trust is a great resource in relationships.
and a beautiful building block.
The lady speaks true. I have an established rapport with the other lady, though, and should she agree, then I will find myself so inclined as well.
My associates speak sense. Somewhat. Perhaps not as elegantly as me, but they speak sense.
What did you have in mind, Oberon?
Oh, I don't know. What about how about if I drink some of your I'll drink some of your vitae and you drink some of mine. Then we'll be bound together, and then we know we can trust one another for a long and fruitful relationship.
Child, you are not necessarily aware of all the manifold repercussions of such. And I am a dealer, and this I know to be an unfair deal. I will take the boon, or I will leave.
One more question from myself. What kind of thing, what kind of task, I'm using my words incorrectly, what can we expect from you? What can we expect from you to repay this boon?
I've told you, I'm an investor. I I like to see the price of my fortunes rise and fall, and I seek to cash them in when they rise and lose them before they fall. It is not necessarily my wish that you will be upholding, you see. I have fingers in a great many pies, and as such, I have no idea what it is I will ask of you, but I will trust your honor, even as my conscience bids me otherwise.
At this point, I would give a slight little shrug. I feel, perhaps naively, that with the lowering of the request, we should just agree, but I'm also not one to barge forward and make decisions for the whole group, so I'll just do a little shrug and sit back and look side to side.
The terms are acceptable to me.
I just really wanted to bond with Otto, but I suppose.
You have plenty of time to bond with others.
Yes, if you're truly that eager, then perhaps we can arrange something.
You should not bond so lightly.
The little one would know.
Yes. What are you up to nowadays, little one? Are you still scattering from street to street, selling what you can and buying it?
Rogue's just going to hiss. He has no intention to communicate with this person.
And just kind of give a side long glance to Lady Catelyn then and says, he does you no favours, you know. I'm in your camp, but there's only so much I can offset if you're associating yourself with riffraff such as that.
The little one can and will be educated to be better.
Well, perhaps he ought to learn to change his tone like I can. Then he can address his betters when spoken to.
Oh, come, Otto. A hiss can be appropriate in certain situations. Don't write him
My
off
dear, there are
completely.
standards that must be upheld in the city. And frankly, we are fighting a losing battle at the minute. You are new here. Perhaps you do not understand the glory of the city as it once was. A real empire builder in its heyday. But now we deal with scum of all sorts coming in from the waves instead of sending them off.
I'm gonna roll my eyes, but hopefully so that he can't see.
He is a very astute man. His job is to catch eye rolls. His job is to catch slight shrugs of the shoulder and the non-verbal communications between you. That is his role as an Elysium Harpy in some ways. So you get the sense that he's picking up on a lot of this. But I will take what I can get. The boon offered to me, I will take. And Rogue, it's perhaps slightly interesting to you as he pulls out a book with a distinct and similar cover, and it's also a similar in size to a book I believe you recently filched.
Yes.
And starts to note down in a ledger 1MBLKSG, and kind of hands it over to Lady Catelyn and asks her to sign.
She'll hesitate for a moment and then sign in a swift flourish.
Business as done. Do you need your information now, or shall I leave you to enjoy the rest of your night in blissful ignorance?
I believe evening has already been somewhat hampered. So share with us the information as you please.
C'est la vie, c'est la vie. This building that you purchased, the reason you got it at such speed and such a reasonable price, it was appropriated from one who recently was exiled, I suppose, from amongst us. You will find that deep beneath this facility are a mixture of tunnels connected to the Nosferatu warrens. Your smuggling operation is perhaps interfering with theirs, and the blood hunt on one Privat. She is incorporated into this. This building that you have redone as a beautiful club was once a Nosferatu whorehouse, haven to all manner of perversions. Perhaps look into your investments a little closer in the future and see that they don't bite you in the back when the time comes. As for the Warrens and the issues there, they are they are your problem now. I am merely a dealer of information.
Perhaps investigating these tunnels will be a good idea.
He's got you into trouble again.
This is a situation that I do not like being in.
Out of character, if that's okay, just to make sure I understand. The problem is the crossing of the is it's not necessarily that this used to be a Nosferatu whorehouse. It's more that we're kind of infringing upon their underground territory, and there's some crossover there. Or is it that it was once a Nosferatu whorehouse? Or is it all of the above?
I mean, as you guys are thinking about it, you can make, I guess it would be a politics and either intelligence or wits check to try and understand the ramifications of this, because he has been relatively vague. Like, he hasn't really given you much concrete information.
Okay, I would love to try that.
Yeah.
I'm also trying it, even though I only get 2.
Alright, so
I'll
wits,
do an intelligence.
wits and politics. Cool.
I got a 1.
Okay.
I got 3 successes on intelligence politics.
Nice.
I also got 3
3.
on wits politics, if it makes a difference.
No, not especially. Intelligence is if you're relying off your kind of knowledge of history, and wits is kind of your innate, quick thinking understanding of how things might affect different aspects. Did Oberon join us in this, or?
No.
No, that's fine.
I don't
He's
I don't
not
always. Me personally, this is just the way I feel about. As a DM, I don't like when everybody rolls for one thing.
Yeah,
You know,
fair.
it sort of like cheapens it for me.
Yeah, that's okay. So we'll start with Rogue. With your 1 success, you've had some dealings with the Nosferatu in your past, from what I understand.
Oh, yeah.
And you would know them to be relatively clean individuals in terms of tidying up the messes afterwards or anything like that. You haven't heard the name Privat before, and that's probably just a good thing. So you'd be somewhat surprised at there being an issue with it being related to Nosferatu warrens. And yeah, you don't garner anything that you yourself can't think of effectively. apart from the fact that Nosferatu Warrens is probably not the issue here. With Ophelia, you're a toreador. You are a lover of beauty in the art, and you would know that the prince and seneschal of this city are both toreador as well. And long have they looked down on the Nosferatu, being hideous abominations, grotesque to look upon, and yet unfortunately needed in the running of the city. Really, most opportunities have been taken by them, as far as you know from your brief stay here, to quash the Nosferatu, scatter them, and oppress them effectively. So with this being a whorehouse, it makes sense why at a slight it could have been appropriated by the Camarilla and then sold off quickly and easily before really any action could be taken against it. And Lady Grey, there's definitely some illicit activities that happen with the Nosferatu that you could have been incriminated with. The idea of a blood hunt on someone is something that's relatively newsworthy in the years that go by, and probably something you have heard of but not necessarily paid attention to. But that seems to be the most serious of the possible concerns raised. The idea of a Nosferatu hiding in the tunnels when a blood hunt's called on them. Yeah, I think that's it.
Got it.
I think we should bring out the ice sculpture.
I love it.
This is really bringing me down, you know. Let's bring out the ice sculpture to cheer up.
Well, I do leave the theatrics to you.
I ordered something from this. He's really a great guy. He really knows. He understands that art is temporal, and that's why ice sculptures are the purest form of art, in my opinion. Which is why I got this sunlight medallion made.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Do you like it?
I love the irony. You know, I'm a sucker for things I can no longer have.
I think actually it would be interesting to make like a show out of it, and like,
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what time it is, like, you know, just as the night is hitting its crest, they would wheel out these sculptures into the main hall.
Or they should be lowered from predetermined spots from the ceiling very dramatically. Or not. They could be wheeled out.
I just don't think we invested in trapdoors to descend ice sculptures.
I was more thinking of a relatively simple pulley structure, but wheeling out is fine.
That's a huge hazard.
And I love hazards.
Ophelia, the ice melts halfway, it snaps, it's gonna fall and crush someone.
Oberon, you are so boring.
You should, just because you're a vampire doesn't mean that everybody else in this place is. Okay? You have to think of the safety of others. And
okay, wheel it out already.
Yep.
So they would probably wheel out a number of ice sculptures, and hopefully at this point of the night everybody's really hitting the plateau, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's a number of them. Rogue might just offer a few notes to one of the people wheeling them out and just be like, just leave that one out back for me.
Rogue,
Sure.
what are you going to
The
do to
ice
the ice
sculpture.
sculpture?
Yep. So he's going to go out back and you're just going to hear a loud smash.
There actually was there was somebody. Actually, I don't want to tell you the story. It's not interesting.
Quickly backs out.
I mean, there was an ice sculpture outside of a restaurant that's like a couple blocks away from me, and then like it was cool. And then a few days later, I saw it smashed, and I was like, "Why would you do
Aw.
something like that?"
Oh,
It was in the winter, so I guess it would have lasted quite some time. But it was a small one. It was like the size of a chair, you know. So
We're trying to raise spirits.
that's not what I had in mind when you said small.
For an ice sculpture, yeah. Like the size of a mug,
I mean-
maybe.
Well, as sorry as I am to the ice sculptures, this one is getting smashed in the kitchen.
Yeah, you
What-
see the figure of a shocked sword swallower as well. Which is,
Yes.
and
you people just don't understand true art. Sword swallowing and ice sculptures. That's
is that it?
that's the apex.
That's the pinnacle of art.
Then
Yes.
perhaps I should have just sent you to a
well, I have
circus.
a question. Is everyone okay?
Perhaps.
Nobody's saying they're okay.
I think everybody's okay. Perhaps some
You might
adrenaline.
catch Rogue coming back into the main thing, just like with using one of the spikes as a toothpick.
You know, I think I've worked out that everyone's okay, and the little one needs more lessons in etiquette.
Actually, I'm okay with that. You know, destruction is a form of self-expression too.
Agreed. That was very
So-
artistic.
Yeah, I admire your work, Rogue.
I do a tiny little, like a, you know, when you do those tiny little claps where your fingers are just touching your palms. That's what I do.
I'm not sure if you broke out there. All I heard was fingers touching your palms.
Oh, I just do a tiny little clap for Rogue, but the type of clap where it's just your fingers of one hand just slightly tapping the palm of the other.
Gotcha. Golf clap.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Does anybody else have anything for the agenda? I've got an agenda item.
Go ahead.
Let's go corrupt the mayor.
Ooh.
Yeah, that takes up the slot between 25 past 2 and quarter to 3 in the morning, I think, is mayor corruption.
Schedule
think-
in.
Well, you know something about him, don't you, Lady Grey?
I know that he's a friend of mine.
I'm not. You don't have to say that as if we're gonna harm him. We're just getting him to indulge a little bit. That's all.
Indulge in.
The beauties
Well,
that life has
It depends.
to offer.
You'd have to. I was hoping you would tell me.
I feel as though you say indulge in, and Rogue's just going to stick his tongue out, and he's going to have like an LSD piece of paper just on his tongue.
Nice.
I'm sure Rogue would like to. If that's what the mayor's got a taste for, he could do some marketing, or perhaps we could introduce the mayor to Lola.
The mayor is a fine, upstanding man.
That's a very political answer.
Isn't it quite?
I sense a little bit of subtext there.
Perhaps what I mean to say is that you should be careful with the mayor, lest certain behaviours that the mayor exhibits come to light that may also incriminate myself.
Mm.
So it's men, then, is it?
Can I kind of passively do an insight? Can I kind of well, no, I'm not a mind reader. Never mind.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have spent some time upstairs in the VIP lounge when the mayor was around as well.
Okay.
If you wanted to spend some time to do something like that, you do have a speciality in vices.
That's true. That's what I was thinking.
Um, yeah, I'll let you toss one out there if you guys want to take some time and delay the interrogate the mayor or whatever it was from 2 to 2:30.
Well, we already spoke. He went and introduced himself to us earlier. We kind of
Exactly.
we
True.
did that off screen a little bit, but
Yeah, I would love to kind of because I know he's also probably an important figure, and while I don't necessarily want to corrupt him immediately, I like to have this information on people.
Yeah. So
Having contacts is a very good idea.
So what would that be?
what was that? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So what? Yeah, should I do a roll?
It depends how you're going about it.
All right. I'd like to kind of just keep a little. As you said, I'm sure he's been in our fun floor.
Mhm.
I'd like to have just, kind of keep an eye on him, watch what he
Alright.
does, what he looks at, where his eyes linger a bit.
Alrighty. So as you're trying to maintain a sort of consistent read on him, this is a test of your resolve rather than your wits.
Okay.
So I will give you resolve and insight, and you get to add 1 die because of your speciality in vices.
Perfect. Wow, I'm getting everything I'm good at. I guess that's intentional on my part. Okay.
Well, it means you're playing to your character strengths. I haven't seen your
I only got 3 successes.
3 successes. That's still relatively good. It's not delving past his innermost thoughts or anything like that at all. But it's enough to pick up that he has both a penchant for the male sex and also for some of the more high quality. Yeah, you're not entirely sure actually what with 3 successes, but with some drugs.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Interesting.
You would also just, as a note, um, notice that the tall gentleman with Jamaican dreadlocks that you'd seen earlier
Hmm.
is currently in the midst of romancing with Luna.
Ah, okay.
They have copulated, as it were.
there is a Jamaican.
The guy who I noticed he was put together caught my eye in the beginning with his nice suit and blue shirt and dreadlocks pulled back.
Rita, you should try to drop and join again because you're the only one who's lagging
Is this better?
I
so
think
far.
so.
It is, yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if you heard that, but the guy who I saw earlier when I was just kind of looking around for interesting people, that guy.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Sorry, can I he's just a regular old human, right?
As far as you're aware.
Okay, cool. So that is interesting.
I didn't really flesh out my entire herd. I have level 3 herd.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I think, like something like 12 to
It's a
something.
good subset, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I would have Lad, who perhaps is also a sex worker, and I would like for him to just. I would like to ask him to just hang around the mayor and make himself available.
Okie dokie. Yeah. We'll definitely have that happen as well then. is there anything else that people were necessarily enacting themselves? Or am I good to progress with the night?
I'm happy
Yeah.
to regress.
You go ahead.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep.
Alrighty. Yeah, so Otto has definitely left. Luna is still hanging around, as it were. But let me just find the names of these folks. Yeah. A bloke kind of another guy comes in, makes his way as part of the scene, and is unfortunately making a little bit of a ruckus as dressed in a kind of not quite up to standard tuxedo and tie that looks like it's been rented, given that it doesn't quite fit his figure. It is currently arguing with the bouncer, for lack of a better word, who guards the stairs of the VIP area. And over the course of a minute or two, begins to gather all your attention as voices are slightly raised and people turn at the bar, their drinks sliding across the table as they kind of take in the escalating argument. The guy seems to be 35 and trying to badger his way upstairs, asking to see the folks who run the place.
Sorry, I'm distracted by these prompts. These prompts are the real divination. I think we
Truly,
should
yeah.
use these for my divination.
I love them.
So he looks. You said he looks like he's dressed up, but he doesn't look comfortable in his
Yeah,
guise, so to speak.
yeah. It you get the sense after kind of looking at him for just a short amount of time. The tuxedo doesn't fit. It's just too small for him.
And he's causing
and
a scene, right?
It comes towards his elbows,
Is he?
and it looks kind of hastily thrown on.
So it's small on him.
Yeah, like small on him.
Oh.
Yeah,
And he's causing a scene now.
he's starting to. He's got an iPhone out and he's trying to show the guy something, and he's raising his voice a little bit.
And
Sorry, go on.
well, I guess I don't want him to cause a scene. I don't want him to disturb my good patrons. So I'll come down, standing still a good distance behind behind the security guard, and anybody who wants to can come with me if they want to. But I'll say, well, what's the problem here?
Was anyone else heading down as well?
Yeah, I would follow a few paces behind him.
You're correct. You're
Yeah.
not.
I think that did.
If it's because you guys are in the UK and she's on the West Coast, so maybe there's some kind of long.
In case it's better
lag.
now, I would just say that I would follow a few paces behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Grant's
can.
gonna look to Lady Grey and just be like, "Shall I be there to take him to the blood room if it all goes south?" Cracking his knuckles.
Yeah, follow my usual rules, little one. I'm going to stay up here and watch from a distance.
You never let me have fun.
Yes, because your fun tends to risk masquerade tradition breaches.
Okay, Mum.
Alrighty. So as Oberon and Ophelia kind of talk down to this guy, call out. Bouncer's still got a kind of thick arm barring him from entry, but he looks up this gent who, Ophelia, this night is just getting slightly worse and worse for you as you recognize this guy to be someone you know, someone you recognize, someone you really hoped not to see. It's a bloke you recognise to be Desmond Whitaker, who's been following you around place to place and seems to have somehow got hold of you. And as he looks up at you, he shouts up at the pair of you names that you have been trying to leave behind for ages. Louis, Ren, it's me! Guys, I found you!
Oh, fuck.
I am visibly cringing, and
All I'm looking for is an autograph, please. You guys look so different.
What are you doing here? Oberon, can you
Come on,
just
just come
sign
down
his
the stairs. A
paper?
real man deserves to meet his stars.
I would
Desmond,
like to turn.
we asked you 100 times already. Please move on with your life.
I'm turning away and going deeper into the club, and I'll look over my shoulder and I'll just say, Oberon, if you feel like it, sign his damn paper, but I don't even want to look at him.
I feel at this point Rogue was trailing slightly behind, so he might be behind.
Is Rogue going to attempt to loom?
Rogue might just be behind and distracting stuff. It's like, you want me to sort him out?
I'll sign his paper. I'll sign his paper.
Yeah. So as you say, sort of move on with your life to him, you see something in his hopeful, smiling face, like crack, almost like glass shattering, before he there's almost a grit of a teeth before he forces an even more happy, joyous smile onto his face. It's almost painful to watch. And then, Oberon, you see a figure of Rogue kind of go behind before you realise that perhaps it's best to try and make this situation move on with as little fuss as possible. And you start to step down and you see almost like a puppy seeing its master come down the stairs, kind of a little stamp of the feet, and he jumps inside his tuxedo and pulls out a horribly dated image of you and effectively your sister from long ago. And you see it's been signed by several other members of the cast. And he's saying, I just need yours and your sister's. That's it. That's all I need. And then the collection's complete. Well, for this one.
Sure, you got it. Desmond, I'll give you exactly what you... I mean, my sister, I don't think she's interested. But I want to...
I'll find
I want to give you a good night. So just give me the pad or the photo.
Yeah. So he gratefully hands it over to you as well as a marker pen.
I'm writing on the pad. Sorry, I keep calling it a pad. I'm writing on it and the photograph. And I'm really, you could see, or he can see that I'm moving it up. I'm taking up a lot of space on the page. And I'm gonna say, Desmond, there's a lot of power in a signature. It's like you're giving a part of your essence away in a sense. You're giving. That's why it's so important to sign contracts or checks. Because it really says something about. It really means something when you put your signature on something. And then I hand him back this.
Poor Desmond.
What have you done? Oh. Again. Oh, like...
Poor baby.
Like glass shattering, you see like a vein in the forehead pulse, eyebrows raise and then go further. The grin becomes taut, the teeth clamped together as a mix of frustration and bizarre overjoyed an expression plastered across his face. And he kind of clasps you on the shoulder, and you feel the fingernails dig in. As through gritted teeth, he just says,
But for the record, I would have wanted to keep the bodyguard between me and him.
"Oh, sure, yeah." Well, yeah. As he reaches, then the bodyguard, reading the situation, just kind of shoulders his way between you.
We can say
I
that
do
maybe
one
he
better.
grabbed my wrist
hand
because
when you handed it back.
he might have seen it before he took it, and he might have grabbed my wrist instead.
We do one better. Can Rogue break a few fingers?
Oh,
Rogue can do what Rogue likes.
Rogue, definitely at the touching, Rogue's going to be down there and he's just going to yank his fingers and just literally bend them backwards.
Okay, I don't think we need a roll here. You can take half and easily win in a contest against this surprise guy. So please go for it. Describe Rogue's actions in as full capacity as you would like.
Literally, the moment this guy's hand even brushes against Oberon's wrist, it's just like Rogue is down there. He's squeezed him by the. Sorry, I've got a hamster crawling over me.
aw. Sorry.
Squeezed his fingers, like imagine like the middle three, and just in one quick scoop, like there's no mercy, just bend back to the point where they're touching the back of his hand, like full capacity.
There is a strangled scream that erupts from this guy's throat at just the shock, pain, and malice of this event. And he bends over backwards. There's blood spraying onto the floor, and it is messy. Like terrifying. Some people who are kind of keeping an eye out coming back again and like do double or perhaps even triple take depending on how drunk they are, as just the scream pierces through the music, and he's just lying there writhing on the floor, cradling his broken hands and clutching them together.
Escort him from the premises, please.
Just because I'm slightly evil, Ophelia would look over her shoulder as he's drug away, and as she catches his eye, shoot him a tiny little grin.
That's cold.
Lady Catelyn is going to come down the stairs and follow the gentleman as he goes outside.
Mom's cleaning up my mess.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes she is.
And so go for it.
She's going to indicate for whoever's leading him outside to drag him into an alleyway to make sure that she can get eye contact with him. And she's going to use the dominate ability Cloud Memory to wipe the last few minutes from his mind.
Okie dokie. Yeah, the question I was going to ask is Rogue taking him outside, or is he leaving that for the bodyguard bouncer?
He'll leave it for the bodyguard bouncer.
Got you. Alrighty. So yeah, the stairs to the lounge is temporarily unmanned, but you get the feeling that no one else is going to try and get up there anytime soon. Who's not necessarily welcome. And yeah, dragged out for you, Catelyn, is this gentleman in a borrowed tuxedo. It's now got blood on it, so it's probably not going to be able to return that easily. Lying with his back against a dumpster near where the food waste would be in this alleyway at the back of the club.
Yeah, I assume that I'll be able to get his eye contact.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. He's in a little bit of shock, but you can literally just move his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it's literally one finger under the chin just to bring it up to eye level, and then it's just a quick, brief forget.
Alrighty.
And then I am gone.
He'll just wake up with a few broken fingers.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. I think that's where we'll leave that scene. That is, I will be honest, one way to deal with a stalker. Break him the first time you meet him.
Yeah, it's kind of true. He's like, I think I need to find someone else to stalk.
Yeah. He has come to a club and left it with pretty much no memory apart from a signed autograph of "fuck off forever" and 3 books.
And I like to imagine that
good
you
night.
like messed up some of the other signatures since you said explicitly you like wrote it really big.
Yeah, I want it to be defaced. I want his
Yeah.
entire photo to be defaced.
Whoa. Whew, man. Great.
I might have broken the man's fingers, but you guys broke his dreams.
We'll see. We'll see what happens to our good friend. That's not how I expected that to go. That's fair enough.
I like it. That was surprising to me, but I really
To be f-
appreciate it.
I would just want to put this out there is that I'm not like doing some wish fulfillment here where it was more just I was like this is going to lead to more drama later on, so
Yeah.
I'm going to do this.
No, it's a good I liked everybody's reaction to that, so brava.
That's what enemies and stalkers are for. They're for the storyteller to throw them at us.
Right. Okay. With that, the night beginning to come to a close. Oberon, you would know that the gent that you had sent to be of use to the mayor goes unused without further provocation. He's a man with his vices, but he's a controlled man nonetheless. He knows when he can party and when he's not necessarily on the safest ground.
We'll do an eyes wide shut party later, and then the mayor can let loose.
What's interesting is that if we find out his vice, we
Didn't hear a word you
potentially.
just said.
Is this better? Is this better?
Yes.
I was just gonna say, what's interesting is if we find out what his vice is, we potentially find out one of Lady Grey's.
Whoa.
I doubt it.
I've known this woman for a while. She's a tough nut to crack.
So she likes nuts.
Of course, one of her vices is political dealings and being in control and things like that. None of this normal fancy drugs and wine and alcohol. So boring, so mortal.
I agree.
Right. I think then, with that, the night begins to come to a close. Over time, it has, like the waves on the shore of the ocean, kind of risen and dropped as new acts were brought forth and people left as time needed them more than anything. And though there's a relatively constant influx, the night really was only made for a certain class of folks. And that is a limited population within this city. And as such, the night begins to dwindle. Fewer and fewer people are left within, till only a couple half-drunk people deeply engaged in a philosophical debate are left chatting across a bar. And there's really only sort of 7 or 8 non-employees here with you, including the 4 of you left, as we're really cresting close towards sunup, to the time that it is time to get back to havens, back to safety before the sun rises again. At this point, the mayor has left, as has Luna, though the Jamaican gentleman is one who is currently embroiled in the philosophical conversation.
Does anybody want to join him? I don't think that's my thing.
I think I've
Well, I just feel like I've had too much
screen
screen time.
time.
I'd like somebody else to go.
It's not a needed part of the story. It's simply an offer. Should
What's
anyone
the
wish to-
topic at hand?
They are discussing the merits of rationality as it applies to religion. They're discussing the ideas of gods and a just one and creation and things that you can really only discuss at 4 a.m. with a decent amount of alcohol to not get into an actual argument about it. It's simply a debate and a chance for soliloquies, as it were.
I feel like I'm.
Yeah, I don't think Lady Grey's drunk enough to get into religion.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a little bit.
It's not. I feel like nobody's feeling it right now.
That's fine.
I was going to just say, can I use my bloodhound to learn what resonance he has?
Sure. Yes, that is something that you can do. Is there any cost applied to that?
Strength or manipulation plus intimidation. That's it. I could just learn what the resonance is from that roll if it's a pass. Obviously, I'm going to go with strength. And then intimidation is another 2.
And then what am I rolling?
It doesn't say. It just says on a successful roll of that, I can learn what resonance.
Yeah, that's fine.
I got 3.
You got 3. Let's see, 3. Yeah, I'd say that's a success. Oh, now I actually need to make sure I'm getting the right resonance.
Resonance is very important to me.
Yes. Do you know which pages are
Sorry?
important to you?
I have struggled to find it in the actual book.
Yeah.
Oh dear God!
Hang on. I got it.
You got it?
Sorry,
I got it.
I found this. What page?
226, even though it says
Thank you.
That's the one.
I was fairly sure. He is of the melancholy humour or resonance.
Ooh. Now I've got to try and remember what freaking powers that could get me.
Fortitude, obfuscate.
You know what? I'm already at 1 on fortitude. So if no one else minds, I'm going to go over there and try to seduce him a little.
I do not mind.
Just walk over and be like, hey, it's getting kind of late. You got any plans? I want to point out I am not a charismatic character.
Yeah. He kind of looks up at you, tries to gauge whether or not you're drunk or anything.
I've had one drink, I'm fine.
And kind of goes, well, it is late. I will give you that. I think I was going to head off soon anyway. But do you come here often?
You could say that.
It's the first night.
Listen, I'm horny. You're drunk. Want to go get it off?
I appreciate your forthrightness, but not today. I've got what I was looking for. Thank you. Your offer is very kind, though.
All right. And I'm just going to slam my fist on the table. Get out.
If that's really the way you want to be, then that's fine. But
Out.
and he kind of stands up. He doesn't make a show of anything. He is doing as you asked. He's saying, this was a nice place. As you kind of just usher him out, I imagine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Aw.
Great. Come back tomorrow. Bye.
Okie dokie. You close the door in his face.
Yep.
Fair enough. About as abruptly, unless there's anything else anyone wants to do, that's where we'll close our opening night.
You want a little bit of resonance? I think one clip.
No, I'll.
Can I drink some?
Yeah. Yeah, if there is conversation and things that people want to engage in, that's absolutely okay as well. But with the closing of the night, I thought it would be a nice way to close the session as well.
Agreed. I like
Cool.
that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
At the end of the night, I imagine, is Rogue going to come back to the apartment?
Yes.
In the limo?
Rogue is coming in. Rogue drove the limo.
Yeah, that was my concern. I don't want to drive myself home.
Don't worry, Mom, I'm coming.
Yeah, sounds like it too.
Oh no, that didn't go off.
Not.
I gotta put that. Don't worry, Mum, I'm coming.
I really wanted to say that.
That's a good one.
That was awful. That was really bad.
Yeah, Lady Grey has more taste than that.
My taste is resonance. I'll do anything for a sweet bit of blood.
I'll have to learn a bit more about that because I also have Bloodhound, and I don't know if if it's even relevant to me.
I mean, it's relevant to every kindred because if you get the right resonance, your powers are stronger. But with Finbloods, because I can get any power depending on what resonance I drink, it's very important to me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. This is fun.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah,
So,
thanks, Toby. That was
that was fun.
Agreed.
good job.
Yeah, you're a real great storyteller.
Agreed.
Yes.
A surprise. If I'm honest, this is relatively not thrown together, but stuff. I had an unplanned trip to Wales today.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of this was done whilst driving. But it's good together, which is good.
I grew up in Wales.
Where'd you from?
I grew up in a town just outside of Swansea.
No, we were on the northern coast, I think. I don't even know.
Yeah,
A long way. Sorry. I am apologising for apologising now, which is great. That was fun, is what I was trying to say. Thank you for turning up and making it so much fun. It was really nice to see you guys actually play your characters after a lot of hype and excitement building towards this. I hope everyone got a bit of a taste of what their characters can do, what they're like, and really what you're going to be dealing with in the coming however long.
Yeah, I really thought we got well as a group.
Yeah, I think so too.
I love the dynamics. They're really nice. I think,
At first, I think we were. I don't know about you guys. I was a little bit self-conscious at first, but
Me too.
I think as we continue, it'll be more natural.
Same.
Yeah. Hats off to you guys starting it off as well. That was a nice initial bit of banter between you, and nice to see Rogue and Lady's interaction as well. Very, very interesting and quite humorous as well. There's a lot of humor.
The honest answer is, for the last week or so, every so often, me and Rory in DMs have just sort of slid into character every so often.
Yep.
Love it. I love it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope we've got some things to get on with next week. Feel free, as always, pop messages to each other, pop messages to me. Feel free to change out anything or anyone or whatever. I'm rambling again. I apologize.
Change out anything. Okay, so I'm getting rid of Rogue entirely. This is my new character.
I like Rogue.
Gambit.
I love it.
They're a Malkavian this time.
All right,
Yeah.
everybody. Good
Yep.
night then.
Yeah.
Have a
Good
good night,
night.
everyone.
Yep.
Same
See you
time.
next week.
Oh, before everyone goes, Toby, XP.
Yes, as soon as you said that, I was like, shit, I forgot.
Ooh.
I was holding off saying anything because I didn't want to be that person.
I want to be that person. I want my ally.
Yeah, you should be that person. You should always badger me with the things I've forgotten, because there are probably so many. So XP. I want to say Oberon, and it's annoying me. Andre and Rita.
Yes.
I really want to distinguish these lines because when you meet people through RPGs, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I still call some people. There's this really good friend I have who I call Oik because the first time I met him, he was playing a half-orc barbarian called Oik, and I just think of Oik before of Lucas to this day. It's quite funny.
That's
But,
cute.
There's a friend I have in London who I genuinely call Cheryl because her D&D character's called Cheryl.
yeah,
Arcadius because I was Arcadius.
if it's how you meet people, it's
Yeah.
yes. I don't know if you guys are aware of how XP works in this system. But there's a nice little snippet in the book that I can send as well. But basically, we earn. It differs from game master to game master, from what I understand. But I talked to Greg about this, and he seemed to agree that the way that I've done it is a common way. You get an experience point for turning up. You get an experience point for like role playing well and interacting with the coterie and all of that stuff. And then every session there's a chance for folks, multiple or zero, to kind of earn an additional experience point for some kind of above and beyond roleplay, either witty remarks or cutting insights or excellent quotes. And I really want to leave that up to you guys to nominate each other for, to kind of pick
You're
out.
stealing my idea.
I think everybody did
That
amazingly,
trademark.
and we should each get 2 bonus experience.
I
I
admire.
think we should all the entire session get a 5.
Yeah, but I do seriously think that it's a nice way to reflect upon the session a little bit as well, where you have to go back and think through to what happened and what people did. So it's not the case that everyone earns it. Definitely, it's usually a slightly above and beyond. But I think for this one, we could definitely throw some bonus XP points out there.
Well, I like the way that Rogue.
Yeah.
I think Rogue played their character very well, and Artemis, you also you. I feel like you guys both embody your characters very well.
I agree.
Thank you, I am chaotic. You know, I was just going to say, I actually really love the dynamic of you guys constantly having to be worried about Rogue